Welcome to numerologist.com. My name is Vannessa and I'm from Beyond Your Sun Sign. This is your October 2021 general tarot reading. All right, let's begin. October is turning out very, very nice. It is Libra season. We are also in Mercury retrograde until the 17th. We have a full moon on the 20th, which is in Aries. You know, this is all really, really great energy to work with, depending on what your sign is like. We're just going to say right now, based on the Libra energy, the Mercury retrograde energy, and the full moon in Aries, that it is a month to go backwards, take stock at what you do have, and then finding the beauty in that, finding the love in that as well, especially those one-on-one relationships. So the first cards I want to talk to you about are the cards that are within your subconscious. So not what's happening consciously this month, but what's going on beneath the surface, okay? So when you think about, a pizza, it's the spaghetti sauce, not the cheese, right? And the spaghetti sauce is crucial, right? All right, so the Nine of Cups is the first card that popped out when I was connecting to your energy. And the Nine of Cups is pretty much exactly what it looks like, This person is so content, so happy, emotionally feeling really great. The only thing about this card, as you can see, there's the cloth behind this person, right? And if any of these cups fall over, it spills on the beautiful cloth, making a mess. But also, if you were to pull out the cloth, you are going to topple over all of these cups. So what that tells me is if somebody were to pull the rug or kind of open the curtains, when you think about Oz revealing behind the curtain, that will topple over a lot of this emotional gratification and emotional contentment that you've had over this last little bit. So this is really the Mercury retrograde that is going to pull open those blinds, like open up those curtains when it comes to your relationships. And it is something that will absolutely topple over your cups. It will topple over your cups. It will then spill all over that curtain, which has been blocking out any elements that weren't in that you don't require, and it will create some stains. So I'm just warning you guys that this month, it is about recognizing that if there is something or someone that can pull the curtains back when it comes to your emotional happiness, how happy were you, right? Like if it was really that fragile that it could just completely spill and you come crumbling down, then you really weren't fundamentally happy, okay? And the reason why we weren't fundamentally happy is because our happiness was completely staked on our financial security within our family. So not just our own financial security, but our financial security that is then in turn able to either impress or protect or help and support our family and friends. So we weren't actually really happy. We were just on the route of happiness, thinking that happiness was, essentially we bought the dream when they sold it to us, saying, oh, well, it's all about family and money and financial security. And then over this last year, especially these last 18 months, we're like, is it really about money, or is it about community and partnership and love and home and family, right? So we have this card, which was also face down, being the Judgment card. So really placing a keen eye on this energy here, recognizing, oh my God, we were never actually fully happy. We were chasing a dream that they sold us. And now we're going to place judgment on ourselves for being deceived in a way. But hello, we had no choice. There was no, they work hard to keep us in this state. They work very hard. They pay a lot of money to billions to make us feel like we're not adequate unless, and we can't be fully happy unless we have the whole thing, the financial security, the family doing well, and all that, right? So the judgment is misplaced. If anything, we should just be placing the judgment on them, for conning us, for brainwashing us. So we can step back, we can pull ourselves back and be like, all right, I now see that it was never about the money. It was always just about the connection, the energy exchange, that support that money would bring my family, would bring me in order to support my family. And I can release that now. So once we do that, we may slip into a little bit of a depression. It's really, when you think about depression, I know that there's such a stigma attached to it, but depression is just deep rest. It's just our body's way of resetting and saying, okay, something's not right. There was a codependency, whether that codependency was to money or our work or a certain person, place, thing. That was a codependency that is now being severed. And now we're going to go into deep rest in order to heal. Because when we're sick, even mentally sick, what do? We sleep, right? We're sedated and we sleep. So we will be under a state of sedation. We will be trying to sleep a lot this month in order to clear the depression once we've placed a judgment on how hard we've been working just for financial security and to flex essentially. And we will think that we need to get back to working. And with that rest, we're going to really see how much we put on our plate and for what, right? Like really for what? I was just talking to somebody about saving money. And, we got to the point where it's like, well, why don't you cut out this? Why don't you cut out that? And if we just kept scaling it back and be like, okay, well, I can't cut out my TV. And it's like, why? Well, I need my shows. Why? Because I'm bored. Why? Because I'm uninspired. Why? We just kept scaling it to the point where it's like, oh, all you have to do is, exchange TV for exercise or going for a swim or going for a walk, and you're still going to get that sense of excitement or enjoyment. And you don't need to buy the full cable package. You can scale it back to just those 1 or 2 channels, right? So once you take your deep rest this month, you're going to realize how many obligations and responsibilities have been on your plate and for what, right? It has been very karmic as well. Like this is karma playing out for us this month, putting us into that state of rest, saying this is something that you pushed for in a past life, meaning that in a past life, you probably rested constantly and didn't do much work. So now in this lifetime, you feel like you have to constantly be working, or vice versa. In a past life, you worked your ass off. And now in this lifetime, it feels unnatural for you to take rest because you're just still in that state of work. It is all karmic. It is just the universe trying to recalibrate and balance itself back by giving you that state of deep rest, okay? And you can take notes from this Queen of Wands. So this is a female fire sign, a Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, somebody that you've known for quite some time. They are very independent. They've done the alone thing before. They've done the deep rest. And they'll be able to show you through their experiences how much strength that actually ended up giving them. This Queen of Wands, this fire sign, has been a leader, has been independent, has been, adventurous and wanderlust and just taken off, has burned up their lives in an instant and had to kind of forge for themselves. You've witnessed it with your own eyes, with your own heart. And now you're realizing, oh my God, I can do that too. And look how much strength that actually did end up bringing this female fire sign. If you can look at their situation and be like, oh my God, I can do this too. I can have this state of deep rest, the state of rejuvenation, realizing that I can walk away from my responsibilities and still come out strong in the end. Win, right? All facets are winning in this scenario. That being said, that's going on subconsciously. Consciously, we have the 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords is thinking that we have to move on from something. It's almost our responsibility to move on. And it is a young fire energy. So a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius that is young, not necessarily younger than you, but young energy, depending on how old you are. Young energy could be young at heart as well. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius as their sun sign could absolutely still be this Queen of Wands, but in a different form. And this fire sign is forcing you to move on. Either this is an ex who broke your heart or somebody that you lost. For me, it's a brother-in-law that has passed away, who is also life path 9, literally living out their life purpose of moving on and letting go. It is now time to realize that we can let go. We can move on. And sometimes it's more of our responsibility to move on. Like it's that old question. Are you stronger for staying or stronger for leaving? A lot of the times it is stronger for leaving, even though people are like, oh, work on it. Sometimes it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to pack up, especially if you have kids or people or dependents or people relying on you, to move on, to realize it's not working for you. It's too rocky. It's too unstable. It's too toxic. You want something easier. more monotone, right? And then we get back to the reason why we're watching so much TV or doing things, paying for things that aren't fulfilling us. It's just to fill the void and make us feel more secure financially, make us feel more secure when all we really have to do is move on, is let go, right? So subconsciously, we have the Page of Wands. So some sort of message coming in. Maybe it's a message that you didn't want to come in. Maybe it came in at the wrong time. Maybe somebody saw it that shouldn't have seen it. Maybe it's just a message that, you know, you were expecting and it did come in. Maybe it's good news. Maybe it's great news. Maybe it's horrible news. I don't know. That's for you to judge and decide. But at the end of the day, this message that has come in, that is in your subconscious, is asking you now to move on. And what's going to block you, but also help you to move on, is conformity, that need for approval, right? That goes back to this. Like, where's the need for approval coming from, right? Like when I look at this, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to move on. You know, when I think about approval, I think about, you know, doing what everybody else is doing, you know, following suit, you know, keeping up with the restrictions, blah, 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 blah. And is it for security or is it for approval, right? So this conformity is the obstacle and the aid to moving on. This sense of wanting approval, sense of wanting to, feeling like you're forced to conform, is what's blocking you from moving on, but is also the reason you need to move on, okay? Because you've thought about it and you've worked hard. You've done your duty. You've done what you need to do. You've put in them hours. You've done the work. You've done everything that you need to do. And it still wasn't enough, and it still isn't enough. So it's time to move on. You're on this vibration of just being stuck, of everybody, like everybody around you. Like, I'm sorry to say, everybody around you is saying the same thing. Move on already. Let go. Like, come on. Everybody's saying, move, move, move. Hurry up. Let's go. Make those changes. And everybody just sees that you're stuck, that you need to build a bridge and get over it. Everybody sees that. So that's going to make it even more frustrating, right? You kind of feel like foolish in a way where it's like, oh, yeah, now when I look at it, that person has made a comment about like, why don't you just this, right? It's very simple for other people on the outside to be like, well, yeah, let go. But if we're stuck in this state of conformity and lack and sadness and fear and worry and pain, so much easier said than done. But I'm telling you right now, the bridge is there. If you are ready to actually move on, you don't need to build the bridge. You just need to walk over it, and you will see how foundationally supported you are if you were to just do the hard work of moving on. Because that 100% will also be a process. That will be an emotional battle for sure, moving on, you know, crossing that bridge, but it's worth it. And there are two people especially that have been waiting emotionally in the wings. They've been waiting in the wings, waiting for you to go over that bridge, and they're there to support you. Okay, should have been the first two people that you thought of. Family and friends, we have a young water sign, a young Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This person's going to help you move on too. This is part of those dependents, right? I think there's two dependents here. Water and fire, two dependents, two people that will help you move on, that want you to move on as well, okay? Family and friend member. Hope and fear is Ace of Cups. You know, feeling like you have to change the way you feel about something. And that's hard, changing the way you feel, right? Because we work so hard to feel a certain way. Think about it. Like, think about when you're in like a new relationship and you don't want to be in love. You don't want to fall hard. You want to protect your heart. And then finally it's like, I can't do this anymore. I love him, you know? And it feels really, really amazing. It feels really great, really exciting. You have butterflies in your stomach. Why can we not take that energy and realize that changing the way we feel can be a positive, can feel really, really great? It doesn't have to be a negative. It doesn't have to be scary, right? So this is a hope and a fear when it comes to you moving on this month, that you're fearful about your feelings changing, but you also hope that your feelings change to help you move on as well. All right. So your outcome this month is your intuition will be on high alert, telling you that you've done enough. You've worked hard enough. But at the end of the day, if you're not bored enough and motivated enough at home, to bring in a new energy, or at least create the space for that new energy, then there's going to be no movement. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And we're in a universal year of changes. Mercury retrograde is bringing back opportunities, whether they be in the form of a job, a partner, whatever, a car, who knows? Opportunities are coming back up. Full moon in Aries is saying, oh, this actually was a sore spot for you. Here, let me remind you of that by sprinkling in a little conflict on around October 20th. If that's not enough to then move on, you're going to be in this situation for the next 5 years. Okay. Your intuition, your gut is saying to move on. You've worked hard enough to move on, but it still comes down to you. If you are bored enough, if you are stagnant enough to say, all right, I'm going to move on in order to create the space for something new to finally come in, for some sort of change. All right. Okay, that is your October 2021 general reading. And as always, if you would like a personalized reading directly connected to your energy, please do not hesitate to reach out. I also have a special on right now, buy one, get one photo readings. So you can contact me at beyondyoursunsign@gmail.com or on Instagram at beyondyoursunsign. Love you so much, and I will see you next month. Happy Halloween.